the match, tactical breakdowns, player insights and more. On Wednesdays, it's our live 8 PM show on YouTube. Lively discussions, opposition previews and exclusive fan guests. We've got Patreon specials. Become a member of our Patreon subscription for £3 a month and you can unlock exclusive content. Members get access to special guest episodes, ad-free shows and monthly giveaways. Not forgetting, we've been at this since 2015 and are the original County Fans podcast. Find us on your favourite platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify and wherever else you can get your podcasts. Go to scarfbagarrawar.co.uk to find out more. And subscribe now to never miss any content. Remember, it's for County fans, by County fans. Welcome to the Scarf Bagara War, the original Stockport County podcast for fans, by fans. Whether you've been supporting County for years, are exiled or are just getting started, we've got you covered. And here's what you can expect. We'll bring you 2 shows a week, starting on a Monday with our Courtyard Clubcall, dropping at 1 PM. Opinions while we're at the match, tactical breakdowns, player insights and more. On Wednesdays, it's our live 8 PM show on YouTube. Lively discussions, opposition previews and exclusive fan guests. We've got Patreon specials. Become a member of our Patreon subscription for £3 a month and you can unlock exclusive content. Members get access to special guest episodes, ad-free shows and monthly giveaways. Not forgetting, we've been at this since 2015 and are the original County Fans podcast. Find us on your favourite platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify and wherever else you can get your podcasts. Go to scarfbagarrawar.co.uk to find out more. And subscribe now to never miss any content. Remember, it's for County fans, by County fans.
All right, guys. Take a moment, take a breath, and we'll come right back and pick the bones out of that. So we'll start the intro.
Somebody in the way, battling, having got in way of the attempted clearance. Jim Gannon. Oh, great flick on by Alan Armstrong.
Piece against Bradford, but here's Warburton!
Yes!
Trying to manufacture the shot, gets it away, yeah!
Not got it clear. Please, sir! It's a cracker!
Running Armstrong, played in the game, and a superb goal!
Tony did it! Stockport County are the champions of League 2.
Evening, everybody. Well, that was a bit exciting. Obviously, we're now live straight after the Barnsley game. Me and Jimmy. Anybody that would like to obviously join in, the link to join us is on social medias. If you look at our Facebook page and X, the link will be there, and I will post the link shortly in the comments below. So if you want to join us, you're more than welcome to. You must have your camera switched on to join us as we talk through the last 90 minutes of County v Barnsley. As always, Jimmy is with me. Hello, Jimmy. You all right?
All right, Dan, I've got some audio gremlins, but hopefully you can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you're coming through. You've obviously inherited Andy's audio for the night, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I've been decamped into the kitchen, so I've got a bit of a temporary setup. But what a game that was! An absolute roller coaster, to be fair.
Yeah, it was.
At the screen, I was shouting at the referee, I was shouting at our players, I kept on shouting "you lucky buggers" to them when every single ball seemed to drop in their favour.
Yeah, and in all fairness, it is a game same again, we didn't deserve to lose it, but it would have been a game, I think, in previous seasons that we would have lost. That sort of mentality to keep on going to the very last minute. And even then, when we do get back into the game, as County does, we still contrive to sort of like maybe chuck all that hard work away in the dying moments and seem to sort of like forget what we've just been trying to do and look like the team that we're hanging on. So let's start at the beginning. Obviously, the team sheet. Let's have a look at that. Let's come up there. Obviously, Dave sort of alluded to in his pre-match yesterday that he weren't going to chuck people under the bus or drop them because of one bad game, and obviously there is a bigger picture to it all. So, starting 11 was obviously Courtyard dying goal. You had a back four of Ibitore. I'm reading it from here. Ibitore, Ethan Pye, Fraser Horsfall, and Tyler Onyango as your back four. Your holding two midfielders were Ollie Norwood and Lewis Bates. And then you had Will Collar, I would say, on your right-hand side, Barry on your left, Tanto more up front with Kyle Wotton. So that was your starting 11. Very strong bench as well. So we'll just go through the bench as well. Hinchliffe, Jack Diamond, Callan Camps, Fevier, Connolly, Fiorini, and Michael Mellon on the bench. I'm not nowhere near us picked 11. I don't think any County fan would have probably picked that 11. To be honest, Jimmy, was you anywhere near picking that 11?
Yeah, I got 9. I think the Tyler Onyango one was probably a reaction to Connolly's performance in that position against Leyton Orient.
Yeah.
It's proving a big problem for us, that right-hand side with the injuries that we've got. Kyle Noyle, I mentioned it last week, he's such a big miss on that side because he's like a Swiss Army knife on that right side. He can slot in defence, so in the centre, but also he's going to give you a little bit more going forward as well. So it was great to see Bate starting again. Tanto got my thumbs up as well. I thought he was going to really test their defence, and in the end, I'm not sure he got the service really, but no complaints from me. Maybe Onyango, he's not done enough. Even if you ignore the game today when he was taken off at half-time, he's still not done enough for me, I don't think, to get into that first team.
I think Jay Mingy, you look at obviously that. Did he play the first three games, Jay Mingy? And I think he has been, even though I don't think he was signed as a right back, as more of a defensive midfielder, I think his loss has been quite dramatic. And like you said, we've not really settled. Even one game we've played Ibby on that right-hand side to compensate. And like you said, I just don't. That is the weak link, I think, and it's sort of like I think it's affecting Will Collar's game as well. I don't think he's actually being productive going forward than what he normally is, to be honest, because I think his he has to do a lot more defensive work on that side. So yeah, I think it was a starting four at the back on there. It weren't like I said, a lopsided four. So yeah, I think we started off really, really well on there. Let's just take that off. So yeah, so we're all excited. We're all starting up well. I thought Barnsley started a little as they should do as the home side with a little bit more impotence, and we sort of sat off them a little bit for that first 5 minutes, and before we've even got comfortable in our seats, we all sort of sighing, scratching our head, and taking a big gulp of our drink. Penalty for you or not a penalty?
In these situations, you don't want to give the referee a chance or a decision to make. And as Onyango is sort of running with him, and then he does a lunge, whether it's enough contact to force the penalty or not, he has lunged into him, just like Kyle Wootton did in the Crawley game. He lunges into him and we concede the penalty. So for me, as much as I'd love to turn around and say the refs are not, but forgiving that, I think Onyango allowed him to give that decision, and Dave would have been absolutely fuming. You don't make a challenge like that in the penalty area because you run the risk, even if it's 50-50, you run the risk of giving it away. And that's going to be his youthful exuberance. He probably was disappointed with how he'd sort of been beaten, and he was trying to get it back to their player. And it was just stupid. 1-0 down early on in the game again.
Yeah.
Players' heads went down, and I thought we were going to be in for a long evening, to be fair, after that.
Yeah, I mean, naive is probably the word to use. I thought he was a little bit harsh because I don't think he's actually made contact with him, really. I think he's gone to sort of try and block a shot or block something. He's not actually made a tackle. He's just stretched his leg out as such, and it's more of a trailing leg. I think from Keeler Dunn that sort of like made the contact, but we know what Keeler Dunn's like. We know he's a good player at doing that sort of thing. I think he's won the penalty for sure, but like you say, if you give referees an opportunity to make a decision, you can't guarantee that you're going to get it your way. And it's early on in the game as well. Like I say, naive, and the sort of mistakes that we were sort of making with what we have made in the previous last 2 seasons when we've had bad starts and struggling to get a little bit of form. It was all down to not bad play or playing badly, but just naivety and silly little things and little silly mistakes. And definitely, I think it was just naive. I think he did well after that. I think he settled in. Tyler settled into the game quite well after that, and there was a couple of times he had to cover for Fraser and Ethan Pye at the back to clear the ball. But then once he's got that yellow card, he's on a tightrope for the rest of the card, which is disappointing. Like you say, I think it took us probably 5-10 minutes after that penalty, really, then to sort of like find our feet and sort of get back into the game. I haven't even brought my FOT mob stats up yet, so let's have a look at them. So yeah, I just thought it took us a little bit of time to sort of settle ourselves, find our feet, and start passing the ball about. I thought Lewis Bate was starting to really dictate and control the game for us, but we just didn't seem to be that word again, clinical, to find that sort of that winning edge that we needed. So yeah, that was the bit that I really on that first half was really sort of like that finding that clinical edge. On the stats front, same again. You look at the stats apart from the XG. Let's have a look at the first half stats opposed to all the stats.
Whilst you're getting them up, I think we should say that the save that Adai made on 6 minutes, I think it was brought back for a free kick or something, but he still stood really strong, tall, top save, whether it counted or not. So I think that probably gave him a little bit of confidence, because I thought Adai had a really good game today.
Yeah.
Didn't really. Okay, he spilled a ball, didn't he? I think under pressure from one of their players. That might have been in the second half, actually. But apart from that, he didn't put a foot wrong. He was definitely going a lot longer than we've seen him, haven't we? I don't even recall one short pass out to midfield to either Norwood or Bate. Every single ball went long. Yeah,
there was one or two that sneaked in, but like you say, that sort of save immediately after the penalty was a match saver. It was definitely you go 2-0 down within the first 10 minutes, and it was going to be a long night to get back from. So that save, and then like I say, he's then pulled off a double save in the dying minutes as well of the first half. the first save, I think he's sort of pushed it up in the air a little bit and created himself an issue for the second one, but he's had to save it at the end of the day, regardless. Yeah, so like I say, I thought, like you rightly pointed out, that he was spot on. I thought that, penalty, obviously nothing to do with him. Could he have saved it? I always think it's a bit of a 50-50. I thought it was a bit of a soft penalty, really, nothing special. I think looked like to me went down the middle with the penalty, and I think
I think it was I think it was down the striker's right. But Adai does tend to move early. I have noticed that he stood up to 2 penalties now, and both times he's made it quite easy for the penalty taker to choose his spot. He's gone the wrong way both times, basically, because he started moving his weight. But it was a good penalty. 1-0 up, obviously, or we were 1-0 down. And the first half, I don't feel we didn't get going at all. And Barnsley they kept giving the ball away. I think I looked at one point at the stats. You're going to run us through them, but they were at 59% on accurate passes. And they weren't a long ball team, particularly. I didn't feel that. I mean, it wasn't like a Wimbledon of the 90s or anything. It was, they were quite direct, but 59% pass completion for them was super low. And I think that's why Dave you could see the Sky Sports cameras kept on like focusing on him, and he was just like, he looked like he'd eaten a lemon. He was really, really pissed off because we didn't lay a glove on them. I mean, if you can take us through those first half stats, Dan.
Yeah, so first half stats, possession was 54%. Our XG, expected goals, so I know Russ loves his XG, for us is a 0.4. For them is 1.14. Total shots, we had 7. Well, even they had 7 as well. Both shots on target, both had 3. We had 2 big chances in that first half, and missed both of them, where they've had 1 and obviously not missed it. Accurate passes, we had 140 accurate passes, which is 68% of our total passes. Fouls committed 7. Another bit of a disappointing one, no corners. And I think it was sort of late into the second half before we even got our first corner. So yeah, it was, like I say, a little bit. Expected goals was really low, 0.4. I thought.
Well, we've just got Russ, who's available to join us. I'm just going to add him to the stage.
Yeah.
Stage. Hi, Russ. It looks like
really good.
It looks like the lights have gone out where you are.
Well, we're in the car. We're in the car, coming out of Barnsley, coming out of Oakwell, and it's static traffic at the moment. We're not moving anywhere, so thought I'd give you a ring. Not that I'm driving, but,
So, firstly, how was the pie in the pint?
The pint was honestly right. Well, you've got to wait for the pint review, obviously. All I'm going to say is that it's probably less. It's probably lower than Boonab. Let's just say that. Pie review. What are we doing with pie review?
Shite.
He just said shite, so I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
So,
was that Ellis? Was it?
Yeah.
It's what? Sorry.
Was that Ellis?
That was Ellis. Yeah. So we got Dave here driving, and we got Ellis.
How are we?
Dan and sorry, Hayden.
Yeah.
Hayden. I wanted to say Eric then. I don't know why, but Hayden. But yeah, that's who we've got in the back.
So with the old cliche, coming out of the ground with county fans, is it 1 point gained or?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's one. I think 1 point gained. I think we deserve the draw, though. I've just been on to BBC Radio Manchester and said the same. I think it's 1 point. I think it's a good point. By all accounts, I think we probably just edged it. If anything, if they don't get that penalty earlier on, I think we probably edge it and win it. I do think it was a penalty for us, and I've got a little clip because I was joined by Around the Grounds. I don't know if our listeners have heard of him, but he's a YouTuber that follows clubs and does like the sort of like I don't know what you call it, like vlogs of grounds and stuff. He has the clip of Fiorini being fouled, and I'm at the time I thought it was a penalty. I watched it back in the ground. I still think it's a penalty. Theirs was a penalty, though, to be fair. So you can't argue with that. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it is 1 point gain based on what happened, but we could have won that. I think on another day we're winning that game.
Yeah, I think we didn't go through the gears early enough. In that first half, I think we left something on the pitch in the first half. I felt we had 2 or 3 gears to go up. In the second half, obviously, we have gone up through the gears. Obviously, once he's made that substitution and sort of played without a striker as such, we've, just packed out a midfield front line and just went for it.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a few comments coming in, obviously. So Steve Fosbrook, nowhere near a penalty for us at all. Watch it again, and he moves towards the defender. Now, I'm in agreement with Steve.
Yeah,
I
I'll
thought
tell
it
you
would
what,
have been a super soft penalty.
I've asked the lad to clip it for us, so you can see it. I still think it's a penalty. Obviously, it's down to opinions. The ref agrees with you lot, obviously. But yeah, I mean, obviously, emotions are high. I mean, we saw it right in front of us. And again, I saw it back. Still, was it a penalty for you?
Yeah,
100%. I'm saying, like 5 people in a car here. I know. Yeah, okay, we've all been to the match. We've had a drink. We've all had a drink. Calm down. Well, yeah. Dave's not even driving, obviously.
We tell him the police that. On the way home.
I think it's a penalty. I really do, and I think they've got away with one there.
Yeah, there's definitely contact, but like you say, for me, I just felt that it was more Farini kicking the defender opposed to the defender kicking Farini. But there was definitely contact, and like you say, it's going to be down to your view of it and stuff like that. But same again, I just think it'd be like I say, another day, another game, not giving that penalty away. I think, like you say, we win that game 2, maybe 3-0. If we get that first goal, I think we do go on to win that game quite comfortably.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it turned into a really scrappy game. Like neither team were being particularly good on the ball, and I think because they were 1-0 up, they just went really back into their shell, into defensive mode, didn't they? And I think their manager will be a bit pissed off, to be honest, because if they'd continued to attack us, our 2 central defenders aren't looking as comfortable as they were at the start of the season. Ethan Pye got caught under a ball, I think, didn't he, in the first sort of 10 minutes, and they could have scored a second at that point as well. In fairness to Horsford, I think he kept the defence going. But Taylor Onyanga, I mean, I know he's a youngster, and it pains me to sort of say this, but he just looks a liability. His distribution's no good. His positioning doesn't seem to be that good. He's too eager to make a challenge. Obviously got a yellow card as well when he sort of pulled their player back. So Dave made the right choice in taking him off at half time. Whether Connolly is the right person to bring on, yes, he is, because we ain't got anybody else. So I just feel for Taylor Onyanga. I just don't think he's there yet. I think he's just not quite there for me.
Same again. It's a new position for him as well, isn't it? Because I think at Everton he was playing defensive midfield or the right side of a back 3. So it's playing right back. I don't think is his natural position as well. So it is harsh for him. But
we ended up playing Collar at right wing back for half the game as well.
Yeah.
So.
And
we
he's
know that Will
injured
Collar
as well.
like that.
An injured Will Collar as well. Let's not, because I think late on in that second half he wanted to come off.
Yeah, well, that says a lot, doesn't it?
Injured as well. So, they struggled through. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Russ, you're obviously there. Was there obviously first half? I'm guessing that first 10 minutes is a lot of. Rumblings and murmurings and upset County fans, but obviously coming out of the ground, everyone's sort of, I suppose, getting a goal so late on, everyone is in a better mood and a better atmosphere and than what they were after the first 5 minutes. Oh no, we might have lost.
Yes.
Yeah, well, to be honest, mate, we're all feeling a lot better than you sound.
Ah,
Hello, can you hear me?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we're all feeling a lot better than you sound, Dan. To be fair, we're all quite happy with the 1-1 draw. I mean, because the way the game went, really, I think, you know, we can pick holes and things. Is it Tyler Onyango? Is that what we're talking? Yeah, I mean, I think he was a bit out of his depth. Are we all agreeing on that today?
The problem is that, don't get me wrong, right? See, the problem with Onyango is that, don't get me wrong, right? He's a decent footballer, right? But I think the main problem was that, don't get me wrong, he can put in a decent challenge. I can give him that, right? But I don't think he's ready enough, personally. I don't think he's right for it a little bit. I think he's a bit of a 50-50
over
player.
the season he'll come good. I think, like
younger,
you say, over the season he'll come good.
Yeah, I think you need to like bring himself into it a bit, but I mean, currently we don't know what he's fully right for. So it's a bit, again, as I said, it's a bit of a 50-50.
I think with Onyango, he's obviously very raw, isn't he? He's got physical attributes. He's very athletic. He can head a ball. He can obviously run as well. But I just think some of his decisions aren't great. His positioning. I mean, Dan, you've said I think he actually came into the club as a defensive midfielder, didn't he? I don't think like the right side of central defence is his preferred position as well. Should we move on to how we felt? Come on.
I think it did look like that because obviously when he went Forest Green, don't get me wrong, he was one of the standout players there at that time. Considering obviously they were doing pretty bad, but you could see where them standout players was, and he was obviously one of them. But I think with this team and obviously with the talent around it, you need to show like some decent bit of quality, and with him, he can do it. I know he'll be able to do it. Right, but it's just when he'll be able to do it.
Yeah. Should we move on to the midfield? So obviously, was this the first or second time maybe that he partnered Bate with Norwood? So Camps dropped to the bench. How do we feel those two partnered each other?
Yeah, there was definitely the first time.
I think.
Oh,
sorry.
That's all right, Alice. You go on.
Sorry, no. Bate. I mean, he's a standout player. He's unreal. Don't get me. He's very, very good. But I think all in all, don't get me wrong. You have like them players who are like, Prem, like they're gonna be like really good. But he's up there with the standard. But he's a bit. We got here and go with it. That's the problem.
At this point, I don't know. I say I think Bates outstanding. Is Norwood any better than Powell in that position alongside Bate? That's the only thing I would say. I'm not. We know his quality. We know he's got something about him, Norwood, but I don't know if he's actually in this team, in this setup. Is he actually any better than what Powell offers or Camps offers? Bate for me is definitely the outstanding one out of that choice. It's just, like you say, who plays alongside him is the big issue and the big question going forward.
I think the interesting thing with Norwood is that he has played for so long at such a high level, and we said this with Powell like last season or whenever it was, last season, that if the players around him aren't on the same wavelength, he's going to look shit. And I think Norwood's finding that out a little bit. The reason that Bate is looking good is because he's used to playing at this sort of level and with this sort of level of players, whereas Norwood maybe is the players that he's trying to hit with his diags are faster, better in the air. Maybe they're anticipating what he's going to do better. And I think that's where Norwood is struggling at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like Norwood is more used to a Premier League standard player, always trying to break the line, always trying to push forward and all that kind of things. But it definitely is a case of just adapting to a League One winger, being able to play that diagonal, or being able to hit it up to a target man, because target men are, very prevalent in Premier League football. So that kind of thing he'll adapt to, and he'll adapt to quickly because he's a good footballer and he's got a lot of intelligence. But as of right now, Nick Powell is probably a better fit for the midfield and for playing those balls, because he's already been with us for a season now. He knows what to expect from us. So, yeah, I think right now Camps and Powell are better options than Ollie Norwood, but give it maybe a few weeks or maybe a month, he'll definitely be on par with them.
Yeah. So anybody that's listening, obviously Ellis has just swapped the mic with young Dan Johnson there, so it's not that Ellis has sat on something and had a big massive voice change. That is Dan Johnson. That's now holding the microphone, holding the phone and speaking. So if you're listening in, there is a bit of a voice change there. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Dan, you've got the phone at the moment. Yeah, so out of that sort of, who was your outstanding player then out of that first half, you would say, for you?
First half was a tough one because it in many ways it felt like it was Leyton Orient again, but just less rubbish. You know what I mean?
We all wanted a response, but we didn't get it.
You probably heard it then, but we wanted a response. It didn't happen, so it was just kind of like watching that again. So if I had to pick one player out though,
I have no clue.
It's tough. It's very tough. No one really stood out. Maybe Horsfall. I'm not sure at all.
Gave the pen away.
Yeah,
so obviously, I think one of the biggest changes we've seen, obviously, with the starting lineup was obviously Tanto getting his first start of the season. Obviously, a little bit alongside Wootton, but he was sort of far right of Wootton, really, with Barry on the left-hand side, a little bit deeper. Do you think that worked with Wootton and Tanto, or do you think it's just better off having Tanto?
Today, I feel like when Tanto was on the pitch, they kind of prepared for it. They were knowing what they were going to come up against. They were going to have Wootton being a target man on one side and Tanto trying to come through on one side. Hardly ever played a ball over the top for Tanto to chase though. And when we did, the defender was already like all the way across because they were playing a back three. So yeah, I don't think it worked today, but against maybe Shrewsbury on next match on Tuesday, that kind of thing would work. So I wouldn't count it completely out of the question. Tanto today, I think he was just marked out of the game a little bit. I don't think it was anything to do with him, like his quality today. I think he just, I think they set up to play against Tanto and Wootton, and it paid off for them.
Yeah, he was unlucky in the first half where Wootton's had that header and the ball's just sort of dropped to Tanto and he just literally hit his foot and gone straight into the goalkeeper's hands. And that would, like I say, at that point, you just, like I say, he needs one of them sort of ricochets or, we got that sort of goal at the end, but, Tanto just needs that. I think he gets that goal, an early goal, and we know he's a confidence player, and I think he just sort of sets the world alight then. And goes on from strength to strength in the game. Like you say, he got a little bit bullied out of it. And like I said, didn't leave much space for him to sort of get in behind.
I do think that what we're finding this season is that although League One central defenders are still tall and still very good in the air, they're also a lot better on the ground and at covering the ground. So maybe last season, Tanto was getting a lot of space down those wings because his pace was just taking him past them. This season, we're not seeing that because those defenders are like maybe 1 or 2 yards faster than they were last season. And that's a bit of a conundrum, I think. And I think this is also why I don't see Wootton, Tanto and Barry working as a three. I think if you're going to play Tanto, you've got to play him as the centre forward and you sort of forego Wootton. and then you play the other player off, whether it's Fevrier, whether it's Diamond, or even Collar to give you a little bit more security down that right-hand side. But I mean, I don't think they've ever really played that well together. I'd love to know what the scoring stats are when those two have played together. I mean, we know that Barry and Tanto get it up in the first half of last season when Barry scored 10, 11 goals on the trot or something. But yeah, I think that is a conundrum. Should we move into the second half?
Yeah, let's have a look at the second half.
Yeah,
as we go through. So, second half, same game possession. We've dominated for an away side with 57% possession. Our XG is not really much improved of 0.42%. 8 shots with 3 of them being on target. It's the same again. There's, we can be critical that we're not being clinical enough and we're not getting enough of them shots on target. No big chances. So obviously no big chances misses. Accurate passes is 199, 78 compared to their 143. And same again, a better, obviously, corners, which obviously tells you a little bit more, I always think, about our intent and the way we'll be playing. 5 corners in the second half. So obviously, yes, we've. For me, I thought we started obviously with a change at this half time with Connolly coming off on for Nyango. Obviously, I think that was more to the fact that he picked up that first yellow card in the first half. You might argue that it was a lucky boy because he didn't get a booking for the penalty. So he's obviously made a tactical swap to try and make sure that he doesn't get sent off, and brought Connolly on. Kept the same formation for me. He's kept the back 4 with Connolly on the pitch. And I just felt that we sort of took probably, even though we dominated the possession and dominated the ball and all the stats again, we sort of huffed and puffed a little bit in the second half without, same again, really making that goalkeeper work for it. And I thought it was just a little bit too easy for Barnsley at times. But we had gears. We had gears to sort of go up in the game and increase that tempo. And obviously, Dave Challoner thought the same, and he's made substitutions, I think, to sort of to do that. He's obviously the first double subs after half time he's made. He's obviously took Norwood and Bate off, which, same again, he took the 2 centre midfielders off against Leyton Orient last week. He's done it this week. Was that tactical, or was that to obviously Lewis Bate to manage his minutes? He's brought on at that point Farini, and I'm trying to think who he brought on as well as Farini. At that point, who's he brought on as well?
Was it
Callum Camps?
Camps, yeah, obviously. Yeah, and let's say when they came on, I think we started, like I say, we were dominating the ball, we were dominating possession. I don't think we were doing enough of it in the final third, though. And I think that's where we sort of really struggled.
They certainly let us have possession, didn't they? I mean, it was a completely different game to Leyton Orient, where they just pressed and pressed and pressed us to death.
Yeah,
Barnsley were more than happy to sit back, weren't they?
Yeah, they sat a lot deeper in the second half than they did in the first half. It just let us gain that little bit of momentum on them. It let us have a couple of chances and let the lads gain a little bit of confidence coming into that second half. By all means, we weren't amazing going forward. We were definitely a bit slow. Could have picked the tempo up a little bit more. Show that that goal scoring that we can do. We have done it already this season. But I think it is just a confidence thing after the heavy defeat that we had last week. It'll come if we just string a couple results together, and today, getting a draw from the circumstances that we were in and how we actually played. The lads, that'll come. Just that little finishing touch. There were definitely a few chances that we should have done better with. But as I say, it will come.
Yeah, it was. I say, but I think we had gears to go up. I think we did do that for sure. I think, like I say, we started moving the ball a lot quicker. Obviously, we didn't play out the back from Corey as much. I think, like we've said before, Corey was obviously going a lot longer and going out to the wings as well with his balls. So yeah, it was, like I say, huffed and puffed. Was there a point? Obviously, Dan, you were in there. Was there a point where, obviously, with the fans, did it feel like it was going to be one of them games? Did that goal was never going to come?
It definitely felt like we should have gotten something from the game, like as soon as the second half kicked off. Like even after the penalty, it did feel like we just were there the entire time. We were always going forward. We just never seemed to like create a big chance with it.
Yeah.
But it definitely felt like we should have gotten something from the game, and we did in the end. So we're all quite happy here coming back from the ground.
I think fair play to the players just for keeping on going. And am I right in saying this is the first time that Barry has finished the 90 minutes? Because obviously he's the guy that scored the winner. According to FOTMob, the assist by Callum Connolly, I think it whacked him on the head, did it not? And then it bounced back to Barry. So that's the funniest assist I've ever seen. But fair play to Barry for keeping his composure and then smacking it back in and went in off a deflection. But it would have been easy for Dave to have taken Barry off, because I made a note in the first half that he's a bit like that, like your best player in your junior school team that sort of wants to score the goal himself and beat all the players himself.
Yeah, he definitely,
that is to the detriment of
more than too much. Like even then, in the first half especially, you could just tell he was getting frustrated. He was trying to do everything himself to the point where even he couldn't put a pass to Ibby to try and let him have a cross. It was a bit strange, but he calmed down eventually in the second half and then got the goal, as you say. But I just think he needs to let the players around him do their jobs and then let him do his job. And I think we'll be a lot more successful.
I think it's good though that when we do have Diamond and Fevre on the pitch, I think Barry seems to calm down a bit, because he's not the only dribbler on the team. Then you've got two other players that can take that sort of role on, and he definitely seems to just like lay the ball off a bit more and make a few more intelligent passes, I think, rather than just trying to beat his man all the time.
Yeah, definitely. I think the second lot of double substitutions of Fevs and I say Jack Diamond coming on, I thought at the point I was scratching my head, because you're sort of taking off your front two as such, your two goal scorers as such in Wharton and Tanto off, and you're bringing two midfield players on. And we didn't really have that at that point. We didn't have that target man. We didn't have that striker on the pitch. But you can see straight away just pace and power. And same here. When they're on the pitch, we seem to get keep the ball on our feet and on the deck a little bit more, play it about a little bit more, play it with a bit of pace and a bit of purpose. And we just, we looked so much like a better team than them, for them last sort of 15 minutes, I thought.
Yeah, I think it was also like something to do with it just be something being completely different for them to deal with. Like they've been playing with a target man and advance forward to trying to break the line all day, and then as soon as we switched to three players who were like extremely good dribbling at them, it's just something that to shock the system a little bit, the defensive system, and I just think that that little shock just caused that chance to be created. In that second half, we were a lot better on the ball. We created a lot more little passing triangles and just getting it round the defenders a lot easier. I think the confidence built up from the start of that second half, us having the ball, and then it all just coalesced into that one really scrappy chance that we got that we put away.
Yeah, it was. even though it was scrappy, it was. I think it was a well worked goal.
100%.
Won it, and there was a few chances before that where we've worked the ball. Obviously, Fiorini's penalty chance as well. It just felt for me. I'm clock watching at that point. For me, I thought the goal was going to come. I thought we were going to score. The biggest threat for me was actually just the time running out of the game. For me, and like you say, thankfully, referees having issues with their comms gave us that extra minutes to add on at the end. It obviously allowed us to get that goal. But even when we've got the equaliser, saying at the beginning, it just felt that we were going to do a county and completely throw all that hard work away in a balmy 2 minutes right at the end. And we seem to sort of go completely nuclear and defending wise and just lost the plot, I thought, a little bit. We were at no control. I don't know. Obviously, we had a red card off the bench with Andy Mangan getting sent off for abusing the fourth official a little bit over something. But yeah, it seemed sort of like went a bit mad.
Yeah, I think it was something to do with an elbow to Ethan Pye, sort of in the I don't know, the third line of the pitch. I think Ethan Pye got an elbow from one of their guys, and our bench went absolutely mental, and Andy Mangan got sent off. So,
it's 1 week he's going to Real Madrid, next week he's getting sent off at Barnsley. It's a bit the life and times of Andy Mangan, eh?
I did turn around to Chloe whilst we were watching the game, and like on 89 minutes, and I said, I cannot remember the last time that we scored after 90 minutes. And so she turned to me and she said, does that mean we're going to score then, Dad? And I was like, I fucking hope so. So you can thank me for that goal.
So when you look at obviously the player ratings for the game, Starman on FOTMob is Fraser Horsfall at 8.1.
He had a very good game today, all round. Just seemed to win.
Yeah, I think we said last week, didn't we? It wouldn't surprise that Fraser having an awful game at Leyton Orient would be man of the match for Barnsley. That's just the way it happens, I think, with Fraser at times. He does have a bad game every now and again, as do all the players. But the thing that I do like about Fraser, he does, when he has a bad game, he does come back, I think, and put a sort of statement performance out. I still think I'm waiting for that goal. I think he's getting closer and closer with the set pieces and corners and being attacking threat. He did have that run, a la sort of like Sol Campbell, didn't he, in the second half when he's flicked the ball at halfway line and he's managed to go. I think he got into the 18-yard box at one point. I think at that point I'm shouting shoot at the TV screen, and we want to see a worldie go in, but it didn't happen. So looking at the stats for all the players, mainly Tanto's got 6.6. Louis Barry got 7.5, Will Collar 7.2, Wharton 6.9.
That's fine.
Bate again 7.5, Ollie Norwood 7. The back line, same again, really strong, 7.5, 7.3 for Pye, Horsfall 8.1. Ayango, obviously, he's come off at half time, he's only got a 6, and Courtyard Clubcall's got a 7. And same again, substitutions. Obviously, they've rated Connolly a massive improvement over Tyler. He's got a 7.3 for his performance for second half at right back. Would you agree with them sort of stats? Was Horsfall your man of the match as such?
Is that a question for me?
Oh, Rush, you're back.
I'm back, yeah, I'm back.
Yeah,
like Slim Shady.
And then it's Slim
Shady. Yeah. I didn't. I'll be honest with you, Dan. I didn't hear a word you said. I just heard a lot of numbers. I think you're talking about ratings and man of the match and stuff like that. I'd probably go with what Dan said before. I think Dan, did you say Horsfall?
I just said Horsfall was really good all game.
Yeah, Horsfall was steady and really, really good all game. It's funny because it's one of those ones where I don't think anybody stood out like particularly. I thought everybody played their part. Challoner changed it when he needed to. Diamond definitely made a difference. I think there's a lot of love for Diamond in this car. Definitely, I think. So yeah, I think it sounds like it feels like everything's been said that needs to be said. Good point away. And personally, from my perspective, I went for a point before the game, so I'm happy with that. Different circumstances, we could have won, but a point away at Barnsley in front of 12,000 fans. Happy days.
Agreed. Cool.
Right.
Should we wrap it up, Dan?
Yeah, we've been on here for 50 minutes. Just so Russ can clip it, ref watch.
Ref watch. Well,
I'm not saying anything, Dan. I'm not saying anything on the ref.
I'll say it this time, Jimmy. Right? I'm not saying he cost us the game, but the ref was awful. We're complaining all throughout the game about the ref. Yes, they had a penalty. You can see why it's given. No complaints there, really. I sort of rolled my eyes as soon as he gave it. But he was just, I don't know, maybe it's, I'm looking through blue tinted glasses, but he just gave everything to them, it felt like. And that might be, again, me a few beers in and having paid me ticket money and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I still think, and I will clip it and I will show you, I still think it was a penalty. I might think differently in the morning.
You won't.
Do you not think? Dave just said I won't. But I might think differently in the morning when I've seen it back, maybe, but I just think it's a penalty for us.
Yeah, no worries. Right. Well, he's got his 30 seconds of clip there to blame the referee, so he can put that on social. And...
We'll get the feedback on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, you can have the abuse this week instead of Jimmy.
This is why we do it, though. This is why we do it. We put our heads above the parapet, don't we? This is why we do it.
Well, we've all got opinions. Some are right, some are wrong, but there are opinions. And,
that's it. We don't have no opinions. Right? Well, yeah, okay. Some opinions are right, but we don't have the right. We don't have the correct opinion.
No.
That's what I'll say. Generally speaking, nobody does. It's an opinion.
So obviously we'll wind up now. Obviously. Next game, Tuesday night, Shrewsbury away, which I think at this point is actually a cracking game to sort of like get back on the winning track. Without obviously sort of Shrewsbury are struggling a bit at the bottom end of the table. So that game for me is an absolutely cracking one. Under the floodlights.
Again, was you going to say must win then, Dan?
I'm not. No, it's not a must win. No, I don't think
felt like it was on the tip of your tongue.
No, it's not a must win, but it's definitely a must not lose game.
Yeah, Dave just said that. Did you hear him? Dave's driving. Must not lose, he said.
In the dark.
Yeah, it definitely must not lose, but I don't think it's a must win game. So yeah, definitely. But yeah, and then obviously Wednesday comes, and obviously. Russ will be back. I don't know. Is Waggy back from his?
No, it's a week on Wednesday. It's a week on Wednesday. Waggy's back.
No, so Russ will be back with the Wednesday show with some. Andy will have some special guests or fan guests lined up for Wednesday.
I think we can blame Waggy for our poor form. Am I right in pretty much saying that since he's gone to the North Sea, we basically not won a game? So it's his fault.
Just blame Waggy, the wanker. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely. No, yeah, you're right. We haven't won a game since Waggy's Waggy's gone off to the North Sea. So
200 yards, slide left towards Doddeth Road, A628.
Slide left.
A628, mate.
Don't miss the turn off, Dave.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know my way around Barnsley. Dodgy estates around
here. In Burnley, and it'll be a long night for you guys.
Anything else.
Right, so
I'll leave you to it. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, mate. Bye bye.
See you later.
Right, so Russ is gone. I think it's.
I just want to say one last thing. So I think that point is going to prove to be like a real shot in the arm, because if we had ended up losing that would have been like 2 draws, then 2 losses, and that is momentum going down. So at least we've arrested that. We've got a good point away from home. We'd have taken it at the start of the game. I actually predicted we'd lose 2-1. So I'm happy with a point. And Shrewsbury, as you said, Dan, it's not a must-win game, but come on. They've only won one game all season. One game, won one, drawn one, lost 6. We should be targeting those games as at least 1, hopefully 3 points. So roll on Tuesday. Looking forward to it.
And with that, I'll leave the last word to Jimmy on this evening. So I hope everybody else has a good weekend and roll on Tuesday. Thank you very much for watching.
Somebody in the way, battling.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Scarf Bagara War. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember, you can catch us every week on your favourite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. And a huge thank you to all of our Patreon members. Your contributions help keep the show running to bring the content you love. If you'd like to support the podcast and get access to exclusive special guest episodes, ad-free podcasts and a monthly giveaway, head over to patreon.com/the Scarf Bagara War. And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content and more. You can find us on X, Facebook and Instagram, all at County Podcast. Lastly, if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review and share it with your fellow County fans. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Scarf Bagara War.